Hey guys, Arius Comics here. I'm back with Batman the Black Casebook Part 10, the final story of this collection. This has Batman 156 and it collects a prologue story, which we're gonna see how it fits once we get to the main story, which is Robin Dies at Dawn. And it's pretty interesting. So we have this kind of mini cover of Robin fighting these crooks, and we have this new character called the Ant-Man, which, just FYI, was published before Marvel came up with their own Ant-Man. So while Batman is away on a top secret mission, Robin the Boy Wonder is faced with the task of fighting crime alone. But suddenly a tiny costume figure joins him to help combat banditry. But what is the identity of Robin's new crime fighting partner? Perhaps you can guess in the secret of the Ant-Man. And we start with basically that Batman telling Robin he has to leave on a secret mission. Robin's presumably his girlfriend tells him he has to take her to the dance tonight. There's an alumnus donating a surprising amount of money to this charity drive they have for new gym equipment, and some crooks come to steal it. Robin appears out of seemingly nowhere and starts fighting them. But as Robin pursues through the drapes and into the corridor beyond, a mysterious figure appears and he says, "Relax, Robin, he won't get anywhere now." And Robin says, "Holy smoke, a tiny figure tackling that gunman." And then they get talking after they subdue the bad guys. Are you real? Who? And then he gets interrupted by the Ant-Man. "You can call me the Ant-Man. The name is apt for like the ant. I possess physical prowess many times my small size." So we kind of get the idea of what kind of powers he has, and then without warning, the guy kind of slips on in this wall, kind of goes away, and the police come. Robin kind of tells them what's happening. Um, then they have some evidence, thanks to Robin and a new crime fighter called the Ant-Man. Shortly after, Robin slips away to resume his other identity, and then the girl says, "You missed all the excitement, Dick. When I tell you what happened, you'll be amazed." And Robin thinks that he's still amazed and he doesn't really understand how the Ant-Man came to be. That night, newspaper headlines about the Ant-Man evokes anger from gang boss Al Wells. That better not. Batman, Robin, and Ant-Man, they don't scare me, and I'll prove it by personally taking charge of the big job I got planned for tomorrow night. Then they got talking about that. We then move to the next morning as Dick enters biology class and a surprise is awaiting. And this other kid found a tiny deer. He found it near the woods at a river near Perkins Cove. Um, Robin gets suspicious, and we get the first glimpse at Ace the Bat Hound, which is a dog Batman has, whose name is Ace, and then he gets, like, when he goes on missions, he get like a little dog mask, and his name is Bat Hound, and I found that so adorably innocent, even though some of these stories deal with like pretty heavy, material. Um, Robin finds this research laboratory with just dumps, with no care or any commitment or any idea about any possible repercussions. They just dump everything in the river, and the river kind of gets colored because of the chemicals, I guess. Without warning, the Ant-Man suddenly snatches up the valise of diamonds. What happens is they go to kind of stop these robbers that we saw earlier, which were planning this robbing, and then the Sandman basically says that, I stopped them for stealing much of the money, so I kind of deserve a bit of it. By the time the mystified boy gains his feet, Ant-Man is gone with a fortune in gems. I thought Batman was Ant-Man, that Batman had gotten Professor Hansen to reduce his size temporarily so he could get evidence against the Wells gang for the Jumbo Carson murder. But if Batman is Ant-Man, why would he steal those gems? And that's pretty much what I thought, since most of the stories have pretty, foreseeable endings and twists. That night, the late editions of Blazon headline news, Professor Hansen finds formula to shrink human beings. Um, and it also says scientists also claim he has the antidote for restoring to normal size. Much later that night, a diminutive intruder steals into Professor Hansen's laboratory. It's because of you that I'm this size, he says. Now, if you want to live, you'll give me a large bottle of the antidote and a bottle of the shrink chemicals. I've got plans, Hanson. I'll drink a little of the shrink formula, become Ant-Man, pull crimes, then I'll drink the antidote, become normal size, and no cop will suspect I'm the Ant-Man. Now I'll do that until I retire with a fortune. No, Ant-Man, because Robin anticipated your plans and had to stop them, made me shrink his size too, so you couldn't slip away from him. And then we see Ant-Man here, and then Robin also shrunk, and they're gonna have a fight. The guy says, "So now we're on equal terms. That's what you think. You've only got a boy's strength, but the strength of I have the strength of a man. You folded easily," as he says as he punches him. But suddenly, Robin's moving around him, even though he isn't touching me. My arms, my legs are caught by something I cannot see. Then you kind of get the response of that, which is Robin used a puppet to trick him, and once the legs come on, you could basically see what happened. And he says that he planted a story as a cover to get him to break in, and he tells him not to bother trying to escape the puppet string because it's a special extra strong fish line. Moments later, the Ant-Man is maxed, and it's actually Jumbo Carson, the gangster who was supposedly murdered by the Wells gang. But he fell in the river while he was almost getting executed, and they couldn't see him. Then he realized what was happening to him. Then he pretty much thinks he's pretty sure he's gonna go to jail, but he doesn't have the antidote though, so that leaves the story open for him coming back in future stories. So the case ends, but Robin does not yet have the answers to another mystery. I wonder where Batman went and why he was so secretive about his mission. Where is he? And then yes, one adventure has ended, one that is but a prologue to the most perplexing and most dangerous adventure yet to come, as you'll see in the two-part thriller that follows Robin Dies at Dawn. And we'll see that it's a pretty good story. It has good twists. And then the friendship of Batman and Robin is one that has stood steadfast as a rock. To Batman, Robin is like his own son, and Robin would brave any danger to keep Batman from harm. Now this friendship becomes the pivotal point of a strange adventure in a fantastic world, a world where doom awaits and where Batman is confronted by the terrible truth that Robin dies at dawn. So we have chapter 1 here, and we see this big toy kind of looking forearm thing, and it's a stone idol, and Batman and Robin run from it. So where is Batman? Robin wonders, and then the famed crime fighter soon wonders too, for his whereabouts are a mystery even to himself. All Batman knows is that he's being swept along by whirling lights through the vast reaches of space. So this apparently is a new space story. Then sand crushes under his feet and an unfamiliar landscape encircles him. Twin moons, I'm on an alien planet, he remarks, and he kind of theorizes that maybe aliens got them here and deliberately erased his memory, but he can't really know why they did that. His utility belt is missing, his batrobe and batarangs are also missing, and he feels defenseless. Then Batman is touched by a tiny fear, the instinctive fear of any man who is isolated and weaponless and confronted by the unknown. Batman talks about how he never felt so alone in his life. He goes alone through the desert and sees this deserted city. But without warning, something shoots out at him, and that is the plant tendril, which has elongated and wrapped itself around him. Before he can move, he can't free himself from it, although he tries. Then, as a terrible plant relentlessly threatens its grip, Batman says, if only Robin was here to help me. And suddenly a familiar sturdy figure races forward. I'll get you free, says Robin, and then he kind of uses this, I don't know what this is, have no idea, this tool of some sort, and kind of smashes the plant around. and frees Batman. How'd you get here? Robin says there's no time for questions like that. They just have to go. The dawn's approaching, and Batman thinks that he still feels so uneasy. Feels that there are eyes with human intelligence looking at him, and it's just this giant statue. And this is so funny. Like this would be my, you know, when a girl sleeps at your place and then you wake up in the morning. This is what I'm gonna tell her. Then amazingly, the stone figure suddenly rears erect. Like you cannot go wrong with that. Batman says it's alive and it's coming after us. Run, Robin, run. Um, as the stone colossus lumbers after them in distance, eating strides, Batman and Robin suddenly find themselves cut off. Um, they use the tree branches and their acrobatic abilities to escape and leave this giant hole between them two. Technically speaking, them three, because it's Batman and Robin on the right and then the stone giant on the left. Upon reaching the other side, they watch hopefully as the stone giant approaches. Then, before Batman can move, the stone giant, in a blind, unreasoning fury, seizes the great boulder and strides across toward his puny foe. And it hits Robin. Pretty much. The giant also falls down, which is kind of Robin's plan, since he was seeing that his footing wasn't really perfect. Even as he feels for a pulse beat, Batman knows it is of no use. He's dead. Robin's dead. The dawn sun rises, looking down at the man stunned by the shock of a terrible catastrophe. Robin has sacrificed himself for me. He died so I could live. And then this was kind of sad, like this last panel here. Later on, this hostile alien world, a mound of stones has become Robin's crypt, Robin's final resting place. And I just found it so sad because they're like in this alien world and he's not even getting like a proper burial. And it's just, sad moment. Even though it's the drawing, the art is cartoonish and it's made just to look okay. There's not too much incredible art to speak of, but it really drives home the message. And even though some of the phrasing here and there, it's funny. These two narrations here really drive the point home. I got a bit emotional, to be honest. Much later, weakened by thirst, crushed by a tragedy, a lone figure staggers over the burning desert sands. Batman still feels human eyes and intelligence watching him. He kind of gets angry, asks for answers. Then, in a great blink, then a great bulk hunches up from the sands. A beast, an alien beast. I'm too weak to run or fight it. And it looks weird. This was the 60s. All the creatures look weird. And we saw some of them when he actually goes to the aliens on the Three Worlds, Prisoners of Three Worlds. Let it come, I don't want to live, it's my fault, Robin died, I don't want to live. And then we get the actual happenings of the story. So there's Batman in kind of a lab, and he has some machinery hooked up to him, which kind of gives him these illusions, these dreams. The following day, after many tests, Batman dictates his hallucination into a tape recorder. And the doctor says back one of man's most primitive fear is loneliness. When a man is isolated too long, the mind plays strange tricks. In your case, you imagine that you were indirectly guilty of Robin's death. Your constant concern about the boy's safety came to surface in your hallucinations. That's in response to Batman always feeling like someone watching him. Later, as Batman leaves her home, the general talks to him. Apparently it was like a whole experiment about like astronauts. That's why Batman kind of volunteered for it. They're testing how much astronauts or like normal people would survive in the vast loneliness of space. Keep in mind, the moon landing hadn't been done yet, so the space race was still a thing on most people's minds. Chapter 2. Homeward Bound, Robin briefs Batman on the Ant-Man case when they see these gorillas, and I found this kind of weird, so, but you'll understand why it kind of gets a pass. So, Robin, do you see what I see? Gorillas escaping warning from the Lone Company. And you see them over here on the left side, on top of that Acme Loan Company. They're only men wearing gorilla costumes. Batman, according to police reports, the gorilla gang has been operating in various cities. Now they've come to Gotham City, so let's give them a fitting welcome. Swiftly and silently, Batman and Robin, well, they kind of just go through the fire stairs. So um, Robin says, now let's make monkeys out of these apes. They fight them. They kind of winning. They're trying to go for escape. They go on this um, machinery, which reminds Batman of his hallucinations, of the giant from his illusions. Once again, Batman seems to see Robin in peril and acts instinctively, so he kind of lunges out to push him out of the boulder, but what he manages to do is push him down the building, but he has the reflexes to not let them both die. Later, Batman tells Robin of his momentary hallucination. Sorry, I'm still a little shaky from the test. I'm back to normal tomorrow. They go back and we see Ace, the Bat Hound, which is quite happy to see Bruce. Then at 4 o'clock in the morning, the house is quiet until a shout sends Dick bursting into Bruce's room. The tentacles tightening about me. Help, Robin, help. Now he's dreaming about the tentacles that we saw at the beginning of the hallucination part of the story. He just had a nightmare, and Robin says, Bruce, I'll have Ace sleep in here tonight so you won't feel alone. And it's funny because you remember I told you that Betty Kane and what's the other one's name? Kathy Kane were created so that Robin and Batman, don't seem like a homosexual couple. There's like a scene where they're like sharing the bed, but now they have separate rooms. And while reading this panel, I was thinking, why didn't he? It would have been like probably if the whole gay thing hadn't come out, Robin would have said he would have slept here, or probably they slept together before. I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend I know. It just reminded me of that. Sorry to take you out of the story if you're like too invested in it. The following night, Dick descends to the Batcave. Kind of has an argument with Batman about going out like this. Batman does go out like this. They find the Gorilla Gang by luck at the Gotham Trunking Company, and they try to get away by car, and the Disney light reminds Batman of that last beast we saw. He stands blinded by the sudden glare and transfixed like a moth hypnotized by a flame. And in his mind's eye, the car suddenly changes shape until he was once again reliving his hallucination. Robin kind of goes and manages to steer the car away from Batman, which he escapes just by like the skin of his teeth. It is a splinter into the camphor barrel. I don't know what camphor is. That snaps Batman out of his momentary trance. Then they go home, and Batman realizes there's something very, very wrong with him, and he's a danger to his life and Robin's life, who has this hallucination and decides to hang up the Bat costume. He says he's gonna retire from crime fighting. Robin sobs, he kind of cries, says, "Oh, Batman." The following night, only one member of the famed team dons crime-fighting garb. He has an appointment with Professor Carson about the testimony he's gonna give at the Ant-Man trial. Batman, as any parent, like a sort of parent, surrogate parent, tells Robin to be a lot more careful since he isn't with him now. He talks about, he also has like a secret appointment with the army doctor that run the experiment that gave these hallucinations to Batman. Tells him what's happening, and the doctor replies, "I was afraid of this. Batman will need treatment, then eventually he'll be himself again, but it will take time." Hours pass, and keeping his vigil in the Batcave, Bruce is getting worried when the emergency bat signal from Commissioner Gordon. I better contact him once the Batmobile's two-way radio. While reading this now, I kind of had the impression that Batman, that Robin's gonna, make himself really die so that Batman will come in and save him. At the beginning, when I saw the cover, I thought it's gonna be this story about some gangsters kidnapping Robin, and pretty much that's what I got from the Ant-Man prologue story. Um, and something like he pretends to be dead or like something like that. But no, my expectations every time I had one and I formed a theory about what's gonna happen, it changed completely and it took weirder and weirder turns. Um, Gorilla Gang learned of Robin's appointment with Professor Carson, and they kidnapped him, sent a note. Batman will sentence Robin to death, and at dawn we're sending him out of this world for good. You're interference with if you interfere with the robbers again, you'll be next. So his vow not to wear the Batman costume again takes like 5 hours, if even that, and tries to save Robin. Tell police join the search. Batman is like a fury as he crashes on the world haunts. Um, Precious hours pass with no result. Time's running out. Robin's somewhere in the big city. Where? And if I do find him, will I be able to save him, or will I black out again as I did last night? He thinks to himself. Last night, those words suddenly helped Batman recall something that occurred in the previous night. The gateway car tires pass through spilled camphor flakes. The camphor scent is very strong, takes quite a while to fade away completely. That camphor scent could be too faint for me to trail, but not for a dog-skin sense of smell. So, surely with his ace in his bat-hounded identity, and this is how I figured they put a mask on him. I mean, also you can see it here in the other panel he comes out in when Robin takes him out, but there's like a scene when Batman comes back home and he doesn't have the mask. I find that so cute and innocent. So Ace in his Bat-Hound identity, the move against the Gorilla Gang starts this night where last night's ended. So they go to the previous crime scene, and soon at dawn, shafted sunlight probe everywhere, especially through a sliding rooftop. Sunrise, and Rob is gonna rise until he's out of this world. So he's basically tied to this balloon, which is gonna go up, 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 and probably sometime just explode, and Robin's gonna die by a huge, huge fall. Minutes pass as the criminals wait for the return of their companion. And his companion is actually Batman in that gorilla costume, which just by this, like this panel right here, it's such a funny thing. Batman, he KO'd Luke, and KO'd, like now it would be spelled like KO and like apostrophe D, but back then it was spelled KAYOED. So I found that a bit funny, a bit unexpected. Bat-Hound, his name is Shaggy, apparently. No, it's a Shaggy shaped hurdles for like a missile, which is the Bat-Hound Ace, kind of attacking this guy who just used his axe to cut the ropes of the balloon. Free, the balloon starts to rise and ropes trailing like tentacles around Batman's shoulders. Like tentacles, would those ropes cause Batman to black out again? Will he imagine he is in the grip of one of the tentacle plants? So it seems Batman sweeps the ropes aside, lunges desperately for the fallen axe, and hurls it upward. Is Batman wildly battling the tentacles of his imaginary world? Ask the comic or the reader or the writer or the editor, whoever you want to have this question posed by. The answer comes in the next instant. My aim was perfect. As the gas escapes, the balloon will collapse and gently flown down the floor. Later, when the police are summoned to jail summoned to jail the Gorilla Gang, gosh, you were like your old self. You didn't black out this time. No, you see, my Robin, I'm in my hallucination. I only imagine you died at dawn, but this was real dawn, and you faced a real death. While the reality of the situation was so terrible, shocked me back straight to normal. Dawn, once an omen of Robin's death, it is now a fitting sign of Batman's crime-fighting career returning to life. So this was full of twists and turns, and okay, so when I first saw the Ant-Man thing, I thought, you know, he's probably gonna be like this hero which betrays Robin, and the gang captures him, and Batman has to come and save him. Then that wasn't the case. Batman was on this alien planet, so I thought, you know, it's alien stuff. somehow Robin dies or almost dies by the hand of alien. Then that was a dream, and I thought that somehow the army might be involved with Robin supposedly dying. Then that was not true. Then the gorilla gang, which kind of partly came true, which kind of have him for ransom or something. Um, but I didn't expect like Batman being, afraid of stuff, having this panic attacks, basically. Um, that was interesting, and I kind of see how Grant Morrison is gonna use this in his Batman run. Pretty much, Batman being afraid of losing Robin, maybe having some sort of traumatic experience, maybe on some other Earth where that happens to him. Something like that, basically, is how I see him using that. For most of the other stories, I had no idea, but this one seems, psychological, and today's world, modernly, we place a big issue on the psychology of the character in most of the media we watch. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. Please leave a comment on how you like this story and its many twists and turns, and red herrings and false paths, which I don't think like the writers actually thought about, like trying to do, to be honest. But yeah, just comment with what you thought about this issue. Where did you think it was going? How do you think Grant Morrison's gonna use it in his Batman run? And finally, but not lastly but not leastly, please subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. I'm very happy that I finally finished one series. The place is done. All the stories from the Black Casebook are there on parts, and I hope I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.